everybody! Welcome to the 55th edition of John News. My name is John Woodman, and I'm coming to you from my deck in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And now the news. Even though restaurants, bars, and other businesses are starting to reopen, we are not done with the coronavirus pandemic. About 850 people died from COVID-19 in the United States yesterday, and nearly 600,000 Americans have died overall. We have to keep everybody safe and end this pandemic. So get your vaccine. If you are a kid, convince your parents to schedule you to get your vaccine. Even though the CDC and some states have told you that you don't have to wear a mask, I think you should keep social distancing, wear a mask, and wash your hands. And now some good news. Ron Garan is an astronaut. He flew on the space shuttle Discovery, spent time working on the International Space Station, and spent more than 27 hours walking in space. That's a long time! I spoke with him from his home in Colorado. Hi, Colonel Garan. I'm glad you're on John News.
Hi, John. It's great to be here.
I've always been interested in space, and I want to be an astronaut. What do you have to do to become an astronaut?
What you need to do is you need to study really hard in school, learn as much as you can about all the subjects, but particularly math and science. The way that I became an astronaut is I joined the military, and I became a military pilot, and then a test pilot, and then I was selected by NASA from the group of test pilots. We have astronauts that come from many, many different careers and walks of life. We have astronauts who are veterinarians and doctors and scientists and engineers and teachers. What they all have in common is they've done very well in their chosen fields. If you really love to do something, you're naturally going to be really good at it.
I know you spent some time on the International Space Station. What did you do when you were on the ISS?
Some of the things we did is we helped to build it. And so here, I'll show you a picture of us helping to build a space station. This is us before a spacewalk, where they put us into a part of the space station called the airlock, and they take all the air out of it. And once the air is out, we can come outside the hatch and do our work. And this is me on the end of the space station's robotic arm. Yeah. And with me attached to the arm, I was about 100 feet above the space station against the backdrop of our beautiful planet, 240 miles below. But what we did on that mission is we brought up and installed the Japanese laboratory to the International Space Station. There's science being conducted on board the space station that just can't be done anywhere else.
Were you ever scared on any of your missions?
Well, that's a good question, because there's a lot of times the things that we do are dangerous. One of the most dangerous things is obviously launching to space. And this is us on the morning of launch at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Yeah. And we ride out to the launch pad, and we all go up this elevator to the top of the launch pad. And one by one, we climb into our seats and we get ready for the launch. And when we're all strapped in there, technicians will close the hatch, sealing us inside the spacecraft. And here's the technicians closing the hatch. And once they close the hatch, they get 3 or 4 miles away. And so the only people in this picture are the 7 of us on the day of launch. You know, we're gonna take that 4.5 million pounds of explosives, and somebody's gonna light the fuse. And we accelerate from 0 miles per hour to 17,500 miles per hour in 8.5 minutes. So you realize that it's somewhat dangerous, but we practice for this, and we practice for all the things that could potentially go wrong. The spacewalks are also something that some people would think is scary, and they could be scary, but people ask me if I was ever afraid of falling when I was out on a spacewalk. And I can honestly say I wasn't afraid of falling, because I knew that I was already falling, that the whole space station, that everything was already falling back down to the Earth. And the reason why we don't hit the Earth is because we're flying so fast across the ground that the Earth curves away from us at the same rate that we're falling to it, so we never get any closer to the Earth. And so there's not a fear of falling, because as you see there, it looks like I'm floating, right? I am floating in relation to the space station, but in relation to everything else, I'm falling and because the space station is falling. So everything is falling back to the Earth, but we're traveling so fast that we never get any closer to the Earth.
Is there anything else you want to tell my viewers?
That they can achieve whatever they set their mind on. And I remember when I was a little kid and people would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I always said the truth. I always said I want to be an astronaut. And usually that would lead to a pat on the head and a follow-on question of, okay, what do you want to be if you can't do that? What do you really want to do? Because there were a lot of people that thought that was an impossible dream. I would say to your listeners that if you have a dream and you want to do something, don't let anybody tell you that you're not going to be successful, that you can't do, that you shouldn't bother to try, because you're guaranteed not to be successful if you don't try.
I sure hope I get to go into space sometime. Thanks for being on John News.
Thank you, John, and I hope you get to go to space as well.
And that's the good news. Until next time, this is John Woodman signing off from John News. Click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Do it now! If you do that, you'll get to visit space sometime. I'm sure of it. Don't forget to visit ilovejohnnews.com and leave me a comment. I always read your comments. So long, everybody. Bye!